This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Joining me now is John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. John, good to be with you.
Good to be with you.
We're going to run through your arrows column from a few days ago and see if your conventional wisdom still holds up.
You know, conventional wisdom changes frequently.
I know.
It's fickle. We shall see. We shall see.
You gave Donald Trump an arrow down. I think it was a combination of, well, maybe since then he's talked about Yosemite National Park.
There were some issues at the time.
Wanted to be on Mount Rushmore.
Right.
So does Trump still have an arrow down?
His arrow is on the way is rounding toward up.
Really?
Since last week. I think three things have helped him. One is the New York Attorney General wanting to dissolve the NRA. As a legal issue, I got no problem with that, considering their behavior as a renegade nonprofit. But politically, in August, before this election, with the NRA synonymous in the minds of some swing voters and rural white swing voters in, say, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, something that can be considered synonymous with coming for your guns, makes a point or two difference. Doesn't sound like much with an 11 to 15 point lead, except what matters are those three states. And those three states were decided by less than a point. I think that's a factor. I think getting the headline he wanted, which is Congress breaks down in this silly dysfunction, tying the post office to unemployment benefits and not able to make a basic deal. So he rides in and he's going to take care of everything. Dubiously, perhaps without real power, dangerously, and then doing away with or suspending the payroll tax, which pays for the safety net for seniors.
Do you think this was the Republican strategy in the Senate, was
Probably.
to let this happen
Probably.
so that Trump could get the
Probably.
headline?
So he gets the headline. I believe in the Democrat-Gazette, it was banner, or top right, Sunday. Trump inks economic relief. Trump inks unemployment relief, something like that. Just what they want. And then I think what's happening overnight in Chicago, more felonious looting behavior in a Democratic-run city, I think that accrues to this theme that Trump is developing. So I think I still would rather be Joe Biden than Trump in terms of the polls, but things have changed. And those three things, that's in his wheelhouse. You know, Democratic mismanagement, politics as usual fails you, I'll ride in and save the day, and they're coming for your guns. That's just like a threefer for him. And it helps him.
You gave Joe Biden an arrow up, basically, because he's not Trump, is what you said.
Yeah.
So
his starts to go down a little because Trump is not as devastatingly bad as he was a week ago.
This race is going to tighten. I mean, I don't think anybody believes that 10 to 15 points is going to be the final margin of victory.
I'm telling you, Democrats are if they're getting confident or they're feeling excited, they're making a mistake. I mean, right now, this is about the pandemic, about the economy, and about Trump's incessantly, unrelentingly bad behavior, and it's about Joe not being very visible. All of that changes, and the purpose. This is not a nationwide popularity contest, much to my chagrin. This is a series of state races, and it's not even a series of state races, because most states like Arkansas, we know how they're going to vote, and it doesn't really matter. It's a race in pockets within 4 or 5 states. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. That's what it will come down to, because most states, regardless of the national popular vote, most states are right where they were. I mean, you can see a poll that says Georgia's 47-47, not going to hold. The Democrats not going to win Georgia, I don't believe.
Texas, another state.
Let's put that aside. So and you only have to win it by 2 or 3, and you get all the electoral votes. And as an aside, I despise the Electoral College. But so watch these factors. This is going to tighten, and be aware that Hillary Clinton led in the polls, and be aware that the polls weren't wrong. People say the polls were right. She won, but by 2 percentage points, popular vote. But it was what happened late in swing voters in 3 states. Same formula. The difference is Joe Biden's whole essence, I believe, is he's less offensive to those voters than Hillary was. We'll see if he remains so.
We'll find out in less than 90 days.
We will.
Where does the VP pick for Biden, where does that play into your arrow swinging there?
I don't think it affects the numbers, it just affects the temperature. I guess the favorite remains Kamala Harris. See, I think the real dynamic that changes when that happens is it hits us. It's no longer in the abstract that a woman of color is going to be a heartbeat from the presidency. That's a big, big deal. She's going to be the running mate of the man who's got a 10-point lead for the presidency. And that's going to hit everyone. Like, this is a major thing, and a good thing, but a major thing. It's not something we just talk about, it's something if that's the choice. And I think the running mate will solidify the left, and I think it will horrify the right. And that's just more of the same.
Well, how does it play with the independent voters, though? Because that'll be the swing.
I think some of these rural white voters worried about their guns, they're going to have that worry reinforced if it's, say, Kamala Harris. I think it's going to be, and that's problematic. What she needs to start emphasizing is the thing she kept denying in her primary, which is that as a prosecutor and attorney general in California, she was tough. She was pretty conservative. It's time to turn on that side of her record. I don't think her color or her gender is the issue. I think it's what she will build. These elections, Roby, they're all about who's most scared of the other. And
we've quit appealing to our hopes and aspirations.
Our better angels. We have no more better angels to appeal to. So that's, I think it intensifies the emotions. In the end, not changes the basic numbers, but you're right. How does she make herself acceptable, if she's the one, or whoever it is, to those swing voters? Big, big, big. All part of the narrowing of this gap.
You gave Asa Hutchinson, our governor, an arrow up, but you wanted to quickly get that arrow up before school started, suggesting that his arrow is about to turn down?
This opening school, amid the numbers that we have, the positivity rate, the numbers, the deaths rising, the widespread nature of it, like it's not just in the urban centers anymore, it's everywhere. We're going to send our school children, he's right now insistent we're going to have on-premise school. We send our kids to school, they have to have the option to go every day, and then they're going to go home to the parents and maybe their live-in grandparents. It appears to me to be a recipe for calamity. Let us pray not, but it seems to be. And I do not, see, I think his MO is to try to keep things as normal as possible. He thinks that's good politics. He thinks that's maybe good government. So let's proceed like we're not going to have mass, but then he'll eventually do the mass. Let's proceed like we're going to have school, but then maybe we won't have school. But he does that, he concedes only grudgingly and late. And I would prefer, personally, that rather than spending all of our energy trying to design how to social distance at the school, we would be figuring out how we're going to really get this virtual schooling done after about 3 weeks. But I think his arrow, as we get closer to school and the teachers get more afraid and talk more about it and we think more about it, and as the college football teams decide they're not going to play probably, and we're going to play high school football, and if the numbers rise, his arrow is sort of like Biden's. It's teetering, still up, but teetering.
Let's talk about Razorback football.
Let's do.
Because you gave them an arrow up, I believe.
I didn't mean to.
Did you not?
Yes, didn't I?
You did give them an arrow up, but that was before Florida and Georgia were added to the program.
Oh, it was a joke schedule. Arrow up. Go ahead, I can explain. Go ahead.
And now Hunter Yurachek and students have started a hashtag because they want football. Is it a popularity contest or a public health issue?
One of those.
Which one?
First, I got to explain my arrow. That was a sarcasm arrow.
Oh, well now
arrow
hold
up.
on. You've never explained sarcasm arrows before.
Well, I'm getting ready
new
to.
territory.
I'm fixing to. You got to follow my nuance. The arrow up for the Razorbacks, and then I say, at least this year they'll only be playing conference foes, so they won't be getting routed by Western Kentucky and North Texas State. That was sarcasm.
That was a sarcasm arrow. Gotcha.
That was a snark arrow. But then I predicted, I would encourage you to read the rest of that item. I predicted with 10 conference games, they're going to go 0-10. I didn't even know it was going to be Florida and Georgia.
You were going to go 0-10 if it had been Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt and South Carolina or Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they can beat anybody in the conference right now. I think they're just bad. But anyway, I think their arrow can start to move up as this momentum grows, not to play any games this year. I think that's their best hope for an undefeated season. It's their only hope for an undefeated season. This is good news when conferences are starting to say, maybe let's not play at all. I mean, there's a little loss of millions upon millions, yeah, but at least you don't get routed 10 times. I mean, 0-10 for a program that in my lifetime used to think about 10-0, well, maybe it's better we not play at all and figure a way to rebudget.
All right, I'll be watching for these sarcasm arrows. This is new to me.
If you'll read the text, I had one guy tell me, I love the arrow columns because I don't have to read the words. Yes.
Well, now you do.
You do need to read the words because sometimes I have to explain that the arrow doesn't mean. Go ahead. Is there another one or are we done?
No, that is all. I want to thank you for your explanation. I appreciate you.
Well, anything I can do to help you understand.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
That's all for today's program. Thanks for watching.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.